Hey everyone, Brian here with Guitars, Whiskey, and Golf. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you'll think about subscribing. So today I'm going to do something that I have not done before, which is a drink through a line of bourbons from one particular distillery. So in this case, now full disclosure, I don't have the Knob Creek 15 and 18-year-old. So we're going to have to do without that for now. But I've got 4 different expressions of Knob Creek here that we're going to drink through, and I'm going to try to describe them to you with enough detail to determine, based on your budget, based on how you approach bourbon, whether you're a collector or just a casual drinker, whether these which of these expressions are right for you. I'm not going to ultimately make that decision for you, but hopefully I'll provide some information to you that'll help you decide, based on what your tastes are, what your budget is, how serious you are about collecting bourbons and ryes, etc., as to whether you need all these expressions or one particular is a standout and you could just go with that one and you're doing fine. So with that said, I'm going to jump right in. So basically, starting here, I've got Knob Creek 9. This is their standard expression. It's 9 years age stated. It retails for about $29, and it is available everywhere. So the great thing about this is it's super affordable and you're not going to have to chase it. Every liquor store is going to have a Knob Creek 9, and it's like a Swiss Army knife bourbon, in my opinion. It's affordable, it's available everywhere, it's great sipping neat, it's great on ice. You can make cocktails with it. It's really if you're building a bourbon collection, or even if you're a casual bourbon drinker and you want to have a few bottles around, I think a Knob Creek 9 is like a core expression of Knob Creek, and really a core bottle to have if you want to have a handful of bourbons and ryes around the house for yourself or for guests. So let's jump into it. Knob Creek 9. The oak comes through right away. It is 9 years aged. The oak is really nice. There's a butterscotch taste or aroma that comes through on the nose. It's sweet, but it's not like brown sugar. It's slightly different than that. Like I said, it's more like a butterscotch. But the sweetness that's there from that kind of butterscotch aroma is absolutely delicious smelling. There's definitely a nuttiness. So if you don't know, Knob Creek is made by Jim Beam. A very characteristic flavor profile of Jim Beam is nuttiness, specifically peanuttiness. So it's not necessarily like almond or pecan. It can come across very peanutty. All right, so on the nose, we've got oak, butterscotch, peanut. Let's get into the palate. Sweet on the front, but you also right away pick up oak. And again, at 9 years age stated for $29, that's pretty incredible. Definitely sweet up front with that oak presence in the mid palate. From there, it doesn't have a tremendously long finish. But the oak, the butterscotch, the nuttiness, touch of spice, not much though. But all that oak and butterscotch and nuttiness comes through on the palate. Again, this is like, for me, is like an absolute must-have bottle around the house. It's so versatile. You can sip it neat. It's great on the rocks or with an ice ball. Would definitely make good cocktails. Yeah. It's not complex in my opinion. It doesn't have layers and layers of flavor. I'm not picking up much fruitiness in it at all. And the Knob Creek 9, like I said, the finish is not very long. It dissipates fairly quickly, but it's just at 29 bucks, it's an absolute banger, great pickup. So you got to have a bottle of Knob Creek 9. All right, so moving on. Knob Creek 9, however, this is a special release done in collaboration with Longhorn Steakhouse. So Longhorn Steakhouse and Knob Creek got together, and Longhorn selected particular barrels that they felt would go well with their menu, their steaks. And so I think they were trying to produce a bourbon that had some more savory elements to it. So let's get into it and see if the Longhorn version really varies from the standard Knob Creek 9 at all. So once again, though, this is still Knob Creek 9. It's just special barrels particularly selected by Longhorn to achieve a flavor profile that they were looking for. You know, the nose is very similar. I'm not really picking up much of any differences. The oak is there, that really, really nice butterscotch sweetness. Yeah, I'm not really picking up on the nose much of a difference. So, as I said, this retails for about 29 bucks. This special release was more like 45-ish to pushing 50. At least for me it was. I'm not picking up enough differences in the aromas and the taste to justify that. There's a little bit more pepperiness to this, to the Longhorn Special Edition. Let me try it again. I really like it, but I like Knob Creek 9. So, and to me, the differences are virtually indistinguishable. If you are a collector, let's just say you're a Knob Creek fanboy, and you've got to have every expression of Knob Creek, then by all means go out there and hunt a Longhorn Special Edition. If you're a casual bourbon drinker, I would say don't waste your money. The Knob Creek 9, I think, compares favorably with it, and it's 20 bucks cheaper. And I'm just not picking up enough differences in the Longhorn edition side by side to justify the 20 bucks. One more taste. It's delicious, you know. Like I said, you get great oak, beautiful butterscotch notes, some nuttiness. For some reason, I feel like this one has a little bit more length on the finish, but that just could be because I'm sipping back to back and it's just lingering on my palate a little bit longer. Suffice it to say, I just don't feel like the Longhorn Special Edition, since it is still at 100 proof, like the Knob Creek 9, and it's not aged any additional period of time. It's the price increase is not justified, in my opinion, unless you're a collector, like I said, and you just got to have every expression of Knob Creek because, hey, let's face it, you know, part of this is a hobby, it's fun, and sometimes we like to build out collections of a distillery so you have all their expressions. Nothing wrong with that if that's what you're into. Obviously, I've got 4 expressions right here, so I'm quasi into that myself, so nothing wrong with that. So the next one we're going to jump into, Knob Creek Single Barrel, 120 proof. So the standard expression of Knob Creek is 100 proof. This is the standard expression of Knob Creek. However, it has not been proofed down to 100. It's at 120. And it is also a single barrel. So these are not single barrels. The nose is again very similar. I can't honestly say on the nose at least that the single barrel's punching through with different aromas. They're just classic Knob Creek aromas. Butterscotch, peanut, oak. Maybe a touch of cinnamon on this one, and that could be just the additional proof. Cheers. So getting into this expression, here's where the palate changes quite a bit. The base Knob Creek flavor profile is all there. There's no difference. However, it's really amped up substantially. I'm also getting cinnamon off the palate, and I'm actually also getting a bit of licorice. So it's funny how the additional proof point expresses itself. For me, it's expressing a little bit more hotness, which is where you get that cinnamon vibe. But there's also a licorice vibe going on with me, along with the sweetness of the butterscotch, the nuttiness. Yeah, it's like a more sophisticated, amped up version of Knob Creek 9. This retails for about $50, maybe $52. Some areas, they're a little bit harder to find, but in general, if you do a little bit of hunting, you're going to find Knob Creek 9 single barrels. So for me, the Knob Creek 9 base product and the Knob Creek single barrel, they're must-haves. To me, the single barrel is absolutely delicious at 120 proof. It packs a little bit more of a wallop. And I'm loving that kind of faint licorice note on the back end that I'm getting. Yeah. All right. So moving on to Knob Creek 12, aged 12 years. So once again, though, this is 100 proof. So we're not looking at 120, but this is aged 12 years. Let's get into this one. Again, the aromas are very consistent across the whole line. With this one, though, I'm picking up a little bit of like dark chocolate. Not sweet milk chocolate, but more of a bitter dark chocolate, but not bitter in a bad way. Bitter, I think sometimes we associate with a bad flavor, but think more dark chocolate. Okay, let's get into this one. The lower proof point of the 12-year-old is obvious when you compare it to the single barrel, which is interesting. You've got this much older bourbon, but in a way it's dialed back a little bit because of that lower proof point. I'm definitely picking up like a dark chocolate note. So all of the Knob Creek flavor components that you're used to, you get. But definitely the oakiness is amped up. And, oak can express itself on your palate. Sometimes it's very drying. You can taste the woodiness of it. Sometimes it's sweeter. Sometimes it's spicier oak. Sometimes it's very drying. This oak is not drying on my palate. But I do think it's the oak that is giving me that subtle, oily, dark chocolate. So if sometimes you take a piece of dark chocolate and then you just sort of let it melt slowly, and it's got a little bit of that oily quality, and a little bit of bitterness, a little bit of sweetness, and that's what I'm kind of getting off of the 12 year. So the 12 year is going to run retail about 70 to 75 bucks and can be quite difficult to find. Most stores are going to have Knob Creek 9, they're going to have Knob Creek Rise, they may have a single barrel, but good luck seeing a Longhorn edition, and you may not find the 12-year-old in a lot of liquor stores, let alone the 15 or 18-year-olds. So I don't have the 15-year-old or the 18-year-old, as I said. I've heard mixed things. I love Knob Creek. For me, I don't know if tasting through the line, whether I need to take it even further and get the 15 or the 18. Like I said, this is like 72 to 75. The 15 is going to be around 100 bucks. The 18 is probably going to get into the 150 range. And for me, I'm a collector. I'm somebody that's got north of 100 bottles. I enjoy collecting bourbons and ryes, and I like having a lineup from one particular distillery. I just don't know if I need to chase another bottle of Knob Creek, because honestly, the flavors through this entire line are very consistent. You just get a little bit more of this or a little bit more of that, depending on which bottle you're drinking from. So I doubt on a 15-year-old, I'm suddenly going to taste all these new flavors that Knob Creek has never shown me. So for me, like I said, the Knob Creek 9, it's a must-have. The Knob Creek single barrel is a must-have. And I would say the Knob Creek 12 is a must-have if you're seriously into bourbons and ryes, you're doing a little bit of collecting. So I hope that helps you out, everyone out there. Knob Creek, you know what? It is an absolute solid expression from Jim Beam. They make really, really good products. They're, like I said, they're kind of like Swiss Army knife bourbons. You're not going to go wrong. You can drink them neat. You can drink them with on ice. You can certainly make cocktails out of them. And they bring enough sweetness and interesting flavors from oak and butterscotch, little cinnamon depending on the expression, some dark chocolate, maybe a little licorice. So it's a great line of bourbons, and I hope this information helped you out. Take care. Bye.